Vietnam has transformed from a war-torn agrarian nation into one of Southeast Asia's most formidable economic engines. Driven by a young workforce, massive foreign investment, and a strategic pivot toward global integration, the country is no longer just catching up, it's setting the pace. Despite facing significant headwinds, 2024 proved to be a landmark year for the Vietnamese economy. The nation didn't just meet expectations, it shattered them. For 2024, GDP growth was 7.09%, exceeding the government's 6.5% target. Export revenue was $405 billion, a 14% year-on-year increase. Top sectors were electronics, textiles, machinery, which were driven by giants like Samsung and Apple suppliers. This growth is particularly impressive considering the toll of Typhoon Yagi in September 2024. The disaster caused $3.5 billion in economic losses and tragic human casualties. Yet the economy's ability to bounce back with a 7.55% growth rate in Q4 highlights a remarkable national resilience. To appreciate where Vietnam is today, we have to look back at the subsistence era following the Vietnam War from 1955 to 1975. For over a decade, the country struggled under a rigid, centrally planned economy. 1. Isolation. Limited access to international markets and foreign capital. 2. Poverty. GDP per capita hovered between $200 and $300. 3. Struggle. A heavy reliance on subsistence rice farming led to frequent food shortages. Everything changed in 1986 with the introduction of Đổi Mới or renovation in English. This series of reforms shifted the nation toward a socialist-oriented market economy, effectively opening the doors to the world. The transition wasn't accidental. It was a calculated three-step play credited by the World Bank and Brookings Institution. 1. Agriculture first. Since 70% of the population worked in farming, the government began here. By de-collectivizing land and removing subsidies, Vietnam went from a rice crisis to becoming the world's top rice exporter by 1989. 2. Trade liberalization. The government slashed red tape, devalued the dong to make exports competitive, and aggressively pursued free trade agreements like CPTPP and RCEP 3. Investment in people. Heavy public spending on infrastructure and education ensured the workforce was ready for the Industrial 4.0 shift. Đổi Mới opened up the centrally planned economy, initiating pro-business reforms that turned a rice crisis into a global export powerhouse. Anya Baum, researcher. Today, Vietnam is the primary China plus one destination for multinational corporations. As trade tensions and labor costs rise elsewhere, Vietnam has positioned itself as the go-to hub for high-tech manufacturing as follows. 1. Diversification. Beyond textiles, Vietnam is now a top producer of smartphones and semiconductors. 2. Green energy. The government is pivoting toward renewable energy and electric vehicles to move higher up the value chain. 3. The 2050 vision. PricewaterhouseCoopers projects that Vietnam could become the 20th largest economy in the world by 2050, maintaining an average annual growth of 5.2%. Success brings its own set of growing pains. For Vietnam to maintain this trajectory, it must navigate several hurdles. 1. Infrastructure gaps. Keeping pace with the rapid influx of factories. 2. Regulatory hurdles. Reducing bureaucracy that still deters some investors. 3. External risks. A heavy reliance on global trade makes the economy vulnerable to international demand shifts and inflation. The bottom line, Vietnam's journey from a war-torn landscape to a high-tech export titan is a masterclass in economic pivot. By balancing state guidance with market liberalization, Vietnam is well-positioned for a sustainable, high-value future.